And you just listen to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. Covers all the aspects of various techniques of our journals.
This was the Ijo country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools to make your academic services was at the government college to Delhi. And
go gather, destroy their food. Make cultivated camp and that other camp, some more camp, you don't compensate everybody. But some of them
in its key generation sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his point at more dancer.
There's someone that needs to be exploited. Some lives are meaningful. Some are empty. Lives that are meaningful with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after some of these earthly adventures and no more, one can still find footprints of these big lives on the pavements of our contemporary lives.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.
The whole idea is to be able to propagate chicks, day-olds that are going to grow up, and then we reach out to those who are having difficulties to access proteins in this part of the world, which is Cameroon. And we believe this project can be replicated in other parts of Africa as well. We've been able to engineer giant species that can meet given species because most poor households find it difficult to be able to access red meat, and also turn to other aspects like bushmeat harvesting, which is not very sustainable. And we also think that alternatives like goat meat is very scarce, and sometimes the production of pigs is hampered by African swine fever that many people have not mastered. So we think that chicken can be, the raising of birds, chicken can be one of the viable options. And that's why African Center for Community and Development preoccupies itself towards that end. And we hope that these eggs are going to hatch. And when they hatch, we will be able to transfer it to our nursery. And from our nursery, they will get into cages. And from cages, they will get into smaller, bigger cubicles where they shall grow into the giant species that we are craving for. And thereafter, we shall now market some to the public, maintain the DNA, and also try to continue the process and probably give some chicks out as to some people who are prepared to inherit them, to propagate them in their households. This will make these fowls more visible in our society, more accessible, and they can actually help to make people get to consuming more protein, which is vital for the fight against diseases like tuberculosis, malaria, HIV/AIDS, which is very rampant in a continent like Africa.
The poultry farm of the African Center for Community and Development, and it seeks to produce eggs at cheap rates to local communities and also to produce fertilized eggs that can hatch meat producing species for the community in order to step up protein needs in this part of Cameroon. So you can see that the layers are mixed up with giant cock species.
Our incubators are locally made and they've been enhanced with mechanisms that can detect good temperature that's good for hatching and to maintain the kind of humidity that's also good for hatching. And with this we are able to zero in on the more complicated machines that we can have in Africa that are very, very expensive. Our goal, our wish is to be able to carry them to a higher level, probably making them to become solar based, and when they are solar based then it is going to be more cost saving and advantageous to a continent that is situated around the equator, and where many poor people find it difficult to pay the very high prices of energy in the continent, especially following the privatization of many energy firms not so long ago. So we hope that this second generation incubators, which are now state-of-the-art incubators in this part of the world, will be replicated and used and vulgarized in Africa so that they can make more sense to the average household that are wanting to deal with poultry, feed on fowls, produce fowls, and so on. Giant species. We're trying to better the genes of village poultry so that people can have access to more meat-giving varieties. These are day-olds, just hatched by our locally made incubators. The next generations will be solar engineered. One of a very nice species here. It's quite active. And this is another level of the fowls when they get away from the nursery and they have been fed, so they'll become adults that will be able to bring forth other giant species and eggs that can be incubated and sold to vulgarize this initiative to the community. African Center for Community and Development prides in its own species in a vision to supplement expensive proteins and to improve well-being in this part of Africa. This process can be replicated in other parts of the world as well, where we have developing people or people that are threatened by issues that affect their access to food, like climate change and other vulnerabilities like diseases. Is a part of our products, and we hope that we can enjoy this species as we help to vulgarize them to our society and as we try to transmit knowledge about them to other parts of the world, we can work in partnership to be able to make it a more bigger project and to meet up with more subpopulations across Cameroon and Africa. Thank you for watching. It has been Arrey Ivo for the African Center for Community and Development, and for people, places, and events.
Thank you very much. And you just listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. Covers all the aspects of various techniques of our journalism.
This was the Ijo country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools. His major academic genesis was at the government college in Delhi.
Go gather, destroy their food. With the camp and that other camp, some more camp. You don't compensate everybody.
In its key generation sometimes. Today I hope we can be in the style of Poultry, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his poem Akmo Dancer.
It's something that needs to be exploited. Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. Lives that are meaningful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. After some of these earthly adventures and more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary lives.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.